All right, we are live. Rahul Alim is my guest today. Rahul, thanks for being on the show, my friend. Rahul is the man behind the marketing agency Custom Creatives. His agency has worked with Realtor.com, GEICO, Advertise.com, Reach Local, and hundreds of local businesses. He also coaches digital agency owners on building six-figure sustainable agencies. His mission is to help entrepreneurs get out of their own way by moving from an unsustainable do it all mentality to building a rock star team that gives them the ability to create an assembly line in their businesses to create growth and freedom in their businesses, which is perfect. I think, Rahul, everybody wants to do that. So, I think this is going to be a great podcast. A lot of people are going to get a lot out of this. And just after this intro, like how does one do that, man? Like, how do I get out of my own way? Like, what do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, you can't do it all, right? Like team above all else is like the mentality. And I grew up playing sports, soccer most notably, and you can't do everything all by yourself. You had to rely on the team. And you're going to have A players, B players, and C players. And you just have to be okay with that. And everybody has a role and responsibility. And just looking at all other entrepreneurs that have come to like great heights, whether it's a Mark Cuban, a Mr. Wonderful, or whoever you look up to, they didn't do it alone. They started alone, but they ascended up to developing a team. And that's how you're able to get to that next level, whatever that level is for you specifically. So early on, I knew
Mm-hmm.
that, hey, I'm going to be a do it all person. I'm going to hustle and grind. I'm going to prove the concept that this is for me, that I can find my angle in a marketplace. Once I did, that's when I knew I needed some help. And that's when I knew I can create the cash flow and be able to hire that second person and not be afraid to make mistakes, because you're going to make hiring mistakes and you're going to think somebody's good and they may not be. You hire fast, you fire a little faster. As soon as you catch wind of like when it's not going to work out, instead of trying to beat a dead horse and fix somebody and try to like make them like your little pet project, just move on to the next person because you'll find them out
Yeah,
there. Yeah,
yeah.
so that was kind of like my overall goal, is make enough money to be able to hire during processes. I was looking for another me. And one of my good friends,
Mm,
he was like heavy into HR, hired thousands of people, probably fired thousands as well, worked for a huge organization. And that was he gave me that simplest advice. He said, the reason you're having a hard time hiring people is because you're trying to hire yourself. They're not going to be as
mm,
passionate as you. They're not going to work as hard as you. They're not going to be as smart as you. They're not going to be as creative as you. Then I realized, all right, find somebody to take something off my plate that they can own that
mm,
position and be the CEO of every position. So if you're the CEO of
mm,
answering the phones, answer the phones to the best of your ability. If you're the CEO of client communications, be really good at project management and study that like it's your passion. So we would just kind of
mm.
compartmentalize each position versus saying, hey, I'm hiring a virtual assistant or anybody. And then all of a sudden you change their job scope immediately to say, hey, do outreach, check my email, do all these other
Yeah,
activities, because then they're never going to get good at one thing. And then they're going to come into
yeah,
every single day super confused.
yeah. That's such a great point. And you mentioning hiring fast and firing fast as well. But the hiring fast part really clicked with me because that age old mentality is hire slow and fire fast, and I feel that doesn't work. Like the people are still living in the 80s and the 90s when these consultant terminologies were the it thing. But if you're growing, you need to be able to hire fast, like you said, and you need to be able to find the right people, like exactly what you were saying, compartmentalize, and then place and then allow these people to do the right thing, right? Like exact. Raul, this is and this thing is really close to my heart, man, because we place associates inside marketing agencies, and usually when somebody goes into an agency and they don't succeed in that role, the problem is exactly what you explained, that the agency owner is going to hire them for doing social media, and they're going to bring him in. The next week they're going to say make these calls. The next week they're going to say do this. The job role, before you know it, in the first 4 weeks has completely evolved and changed, which is fine. Sometimes it does happen, but not this fast. You got to give this person an opportunity to, take what you hired this person to do in the first place. Let them do it, right? Let them get great at it, and then give them more responsibility. And we think like exactly what you were saying is such a cool thing, that we think that we're hiring another me, another Rahul. It's not going to happen, right? These guys are not going to be as passionate as you and I, as agency owners and the business owners. So that's the mentality shift that needs to happen. Such a great intro, Raul. I want to talk to you a little bit about your background first. Tell me a little bit about how did you start Custom Creatives? I think you grew up in California, and how did you get into working for yourself, becoming an entrepreneur?
Yeah, so I live in a small town in California, Westlake, and it's like we call it the bubble city because you never leave a 5-mile radius. Like kind of everything I have is right around my area. So when I was looking for jobs early on, I wouldn't ever want to take a highway to work. It was always in my neighborhood. So I was limited to my job potential just because I didn't like driving. And so I came across a company called Home Store, and that's what Realtor.com's parent company was called back at that time. It's now called Move.com and whatnot. But when I applied for it, I honestly thought it was a furniture company on the internet that sold like chairs
Yeah.
and couches and sofas. I didn't even bother to even look them up. I just went for the interview, and then I saw about 100 people in the lobby, and I just talked to the HR rep. I'm like, where are all these people here for? And they're like, oh, we're hiring 10 of you. And I was ready to walk out. I'm like, fuck that. I'm out of here. Anyways, long story short, she negotiated me to stay. I stayed, got the job, changed my life forever because I got into a sales floor, had an amazing culture. It was a get shit done
Mm,
mentality. We were all hardworking people. We did not mess around. We were all competitive. We all wanted to beat each other at everything we did, whether it was ping pong or whatever it may be. Even though like our quotas were really the scorekeeping thing, is who can be the most effective
mm,
on the phones. So anyways, after almost 2 years, I felt like my value to the company was not fully like there. And it could have just been me on my end. But when I asked for a raise, I never got it. So I just said, you know what? If this is where I'm going to be capped at, that's cool. Even though I've only been here less than 2 years, that's a pretty short time frame. I felt like I had the bug of entrepreneurship in me. So I'm like, all right, I walked out the door, started my company, and that's how Custom Creatives was born, was right in their own parking lot outside of me walking right out the door. Boom, right on my cell phone, made sales calls, closed a couple deals, earned enough money to be able to afford a laptop. But unfortunately, I didn't have a method to take credit cards. But that's how quick I moved. I just went straight to it, out the door to the parking lot, sat in my car, made some calls, and then drove down the street, got a couple clients, and then I got a merchant account so I can actually process it, then bought a laptop, and that's how the story started.
So started out in agency without even having a laptop, just right from the cell phone.
Yeah,
That's
just
awesome.
from
What
like
what
I just literally would have scraps of paper with people's like note cards. I would just put their name, their cell phone, their email, their website, and all my notes would go on the back of like the date I called, the date I followed up, what the next steps were. So I just constantly just flip my note cards because I didn't have a database. Because when you go from a company, you're
Nice.
given all this stuff like a computer, a phone
Yeah,
network, a headset, a whole system, and you never really appreciate it because you didn't know that you have to
yeah.
actually do it yourself. And then I'm like, I'm just using Microsoft Excel and note cards as my CRM, but also it worked for me until I can get to that next stage. And then I was a big fan of this. Like a lot of people, and you, this is specifically to you newer agency owners, and this may resonate if you're not new. Don't like start getting all ninja. Don't try to get like the fanciest shit
Mm,
out the gate in the perfect scenario because it does not exist. Once you can grow into that, the first step is just get started, get clients, get a product that you can get your foot in the door. Then you can ascend them to other stuff, other products and services. But the first step is get
mm,
that client, build that trust, build that relationship, increase their revenue, give more value to them. They'll give you more value and money back. And then you can start to build out a little bit more of the systems as you grow versus start with systems, start with building landing pages and
yeah.
all that stuff. I see people building it and then the clients are not coming and then they switch industries and think that's the solution, but it's not.
Yeah. What did you start out with when you got these first few clients, Rahul? What kind of services were you selling at that time?
It was not a good idea. I was doing virtual assisting for real estate agents. So what I would do is whenever you have a property, whether it's yours or somebody else's, I don't care. I'll promote it for you and drive the traffic for that listing to you. If you're the listing agent, I'll optimize the
Mm,
description, your headlines, get all your photos, make it look proper. Because real estate agents basically didn't do much marketing in the sense of
yeah,
like they would take this $1 million home and treat it like it's like a $10 pair of jeans as far as their marketing
yeah.
was concerned. So I would just show them
Shitty
like, hey,
pictures and all of that stuff.
yeah, if there's even a picture at all, right? So, like, some of the things
Yeah,
were just like the descriptions would be like 4 bed, 3 bath, 1,600 square feet. I'm like, that's not gonna sell the property.
take it or leave
Like,
it. Yeah,
we're
yeah,
gonna write some fancy shit here, and we're gonna make some
right.
really good pictures. We're gonna start with the kitchen and the master bedroom as our primary, most 2 popular rooms in the house, and then sell the property through visualization. So that's what I started off with,
Mm,
and I undercharged, and then we slowly realized that, hey, that this is going to be too much work and not enough pay. We're never going to be able to scale this. So we immediately switched over by luck or by chance or preparation, one of
mm,
those. Somebody referred us a client that needed graphic design made, like a banner ad on the internet. Right when we got that ad, I didn't know what to charge. I just knew I used to sell it at realtor.com, but I didn't
mm.
know what the fuck it cost. So the first person I was like, oh, it's $500 and no questions asked at all. And they're like, yeah, like, let's get started. I'm like, holy shit, that was easy. And then I went to Google and I typed in how to make a banner. And then I'm like, all right, I don't know how to design stuff. That's not a good idea. Then I typed in banner ad makers, banner ad designers. And then I just clicked on the top results, filled in everybody's form. Then the one guy that was available right then and there on live chat immediately answered.
Mm.
And I said, hey, can you do a design? He's like, well, I can have it to you by tomorrow. And I said, how about this? I'll pay you double if you can do it now and wake your designer up. And he did. And then I saw it, did the revisions live, sent it to the client. They loved it. And I'm like, all right, we got to sell more of this because it only cost me
Nice.
it cost me 20 bucks. And when I doubled it, it was 40. And I'm like, fuck, I just got charged 500. That 500 price started to go up to 800. And then it went down like a crypto stock all the way down to 150 once I started getting a lot of competition, but my margins were still so good. And then I just sold more volume.
And where were you selling? Were you selling in your local city or did you expand out of
No,
there?
I honestly did not care. I would call anybody, like, I would go on portal websites that had advertisements on it, didn't matter what. I would go to, like, ESPN.com, I'd hit refresh, and then a new ad would show up. If I found somebody that was, like, a local car dealership and not a national, I wouldn't call, like, Victoria's Secret. I can't say, "Hey, is Victoria there?" She's not gonna, like, I don't even know if, yeah, I can't get in touch with, like, a big bad wolf. I would just find the people that I knew were local advertisers or even regional advertisers, and those were my
Mm,
leads. I would like to me that
mm,
like other people, they would look at that as like they have what they wanted. I don't want to cold call. To me, that was an inbound lead because I knew if I just click it, go to their page, evaluate the landing page, find the phone number, call them, and be like, "Hey, you're spending a bunch of money on this website. I don't even need to know the budget, but I imagine it's tens of thousands of dollars for the year, if not more. Would you like it to work better? Because I can do a design that will get you more clicks. So you don't have to spend more money on the location and the advertising space, just on the creative, and it's really affordable." And then people would say
mm.
yes. And then I'd sell them one. And then when they loved it, then I'd say, hey, let's do 10 more because then we can flip out the advertisement so people aren't blind to it. So then we started creating these packages and when somebody loved one thing, kind of like coffee. Like they don't
Mm.
try to like I just go back, they Starbucks just sells me more coffee, the same thing. So I would just sell more banners because they always needed advertisements and they wanted to stand out and they didn't want their banners to kind of get banner fatigue. So that was kind of how
But
the
didn't
starting point got
but
off
didn't
the
didn't that create a conflict with their current marketing agencies who were designing these banner ads in the first place, or maybe their
No, no,
internal
it actually
teams?
created a whole new market because those people that were the agencies or media buyers, they actually contract out designers. So when I get to the
Mm,
client, I would go direct to the client, sell to the client, they'd buy it, and then I'd ask them like, who does the media management? Give me an intro. They give me the intro. Then I'd try to make them my client because then they might have 20 or 30.
nice.
And I'll say, hey, outsource the designs to me. And then those were my best clients when I did that partnership model, where it's like I already knew they were outsourcing, because what's the point of having a full-time graphic designer when you can easily outsource it? Because most people don't have enough work for like 40, 50 hours a week. They have enough time for like
Mm.
20, but they're paying full time. So I'm like, hey, why don't we cut the cost of the designer, use us? We're your on-demand design team. We're going to be faster. We're going to be better. We're not going to be sucking your time and taking you into meetings and all the bullshit that happens with that in-house person. We'll just be
Yeah.
your virtual team, and we'll knock it out of the ballpark each and every time, because this is our specialty.
Nice. So what a great way of just diving headfirst into your niche. The first thing didn't work out, and then you switched gears. You went into banner designing, started picking up the phone and calling these people up, got the clients on the hook first, and then from the clients, you actually went to the marketing agencies, the media buyers, and started selling to them, because these guys had another 10, 20, 30 clients that they could use your services. And obviously, their graphic designer wasn't working out, because otherwise their clients wouldn't have replaced them with your design. So what a great strategy. So this got the ball rolling for you on your agency. And where are you guys at right now? What kind of work are you guys doing? Something similar, or has it? I'm
Yeah, like
assuming it
we
was.
didn't leave our roots. Like we still have a very strong design talent. It's not our core offer as our foot in the door anymore. Now our core offer is driving traffic that converts. So we create marketing and sales systems and nurture systems. So it's kind of like the capture your audience, convert the audience, nurture the audience, and then close. So we kind of take a full like marketing system approach to our clients. So it comes from like Facebook ads, Google ads, YouTube, any kind of paid media that we specialize in. And then we create like all the landing pages, all the marketing funnels, all the high level is our backbone of the software we use to kind of nurture and close and keep our pipelines all managed properly. And we just train our clients on
Hmm.
how to use these systems, because the one thing I don't accept in life is when a client makes excuses that like leads suck or Facebook sucks or this, that, the other, coffee sucks, all that stuff. Like that is not that's all that is an excuse. And I'm not kind of argue
Yeah.
that that may not be the case. It could be, but then I'm also trying to find the solution, because all I know is that if you're spending X on marketing and X, let's just make up a number. Let's say it's $5,000 a month on marketing. And if we can make an
Hmm.
ROI of 10 to 15,000 off that same investment, why buy Microsoft stock? Why not buy more stock in yourself and invest into it and then scale it
Hmm.
up? Because if you can get a $1 in and a $3 out ratio, and you look at it over a long horizon, like a 12-month period, you could be a millionaire if you stay the course. And that's for the clients. Now, as far as the agency is
Hmm.
concerned, you have to be really good at being able to explain how business really works when you're hiring a marketing team. Because if you
Hmm.
start a business today, you're not saying, let me try this business for 3 months. So why do that for your marketing too? Have the long-term perspective, but the short-term insights to make sure that it has potential to hit your marks.
Hmm. Great insights. Because I think a lot of agency owners struggle with this, right? They start generating some leads for their clients, and they're like, "Man, these leads are not working." I called them once, and the guy didn't pick up the phone. It's a crappy lead, right? So having those systems in place from the get go and getting the commitment, I think, making sure that that's the type of conversation you're having when you're closing those deals, integrity first. That, look, you're going to invest, just like your business analogy. You're not going to open up a business for 3 months. Commit to me for the next. Do you guys get signed contracts for long
Yeah.
term, or is there?
Yeah, we always do contracts with our clients. And then as far as the length of term, we will be flexible as long as we're on the same page that we are thinking long term together. So if it's a
Hmm.
brand new client and they don't know us very well, we are
Hmm.
flexible in terms of the length of term, but we're very good at the conversation of like, let's have a long term perspective. And through the next X amount of time, we're going to have clear communication every single week, where it's going to be fully transparent of exactly what we're doing, when we're doing it, how we're doing it, and what the result is in real time at your fingertips. So we want to make sure that we always have our fingers on the pulse of our clients at any given time, because I truly believe that people want two things out of their agencies or whoever's supporting them in anything in service industry, is they want a relationship where they can like have some sort of rapport, some sort of fun, and then number two is going to be the result. They want to make an ROI, and they want to solve a
Mm,
problem, whether that's I want to save a lot of time, I want to make a lot of money while saving a lot of money, and a combination of all three puts you in God mode where you can't be touched, you can't be fired, because now technically, I'm not saying that this is something to hold over anybody's head. When you're responsible and your marketing's working so well and your systems and your results and your relationships are so good, you control their revenue as the marketing agency. You put
mm,
food on the table for their family. You put their children through college based on how you've increased their ROI. Because if they would have gone to somebody else, they may not have had those results. And if they didn't have a good result, think about how people think. Well, Facebook ads don't work. I'm never buying Facebook ads again. Now their belief system changed. Now they won't actually bet on their future. And now they're shocked at marketing and they don't want to move. So if you do good
mm.
marketing, you actually control their future and their destiny. If you kind of if they get burned, then it's like a whole different story. They're going to be a lot more skeptical. They're going to be more timid. They're going to ask
Yeah.
different questions. So that's kind of like the trajectories of where you can take somebody.
What still, I think what I got from this answer was that even though there might be a client who hasn't had a great experience with an agency in the past, you do not compromise on expectations. You might not want to sign, they might not want to sign a long-term contract with you, but expectations are made clear right from the get-go. Both parties on the same page for the long-term commitment. And then from there, you focus on relationships and ROIs. Amazing relationship. You're there. You're making sure your people are reachable to your clients at all times, and then obviously ROI has to be there. Once those things start clicking in, you go into your God mode, and you become a very relevant part of that business. So yeah, it's such an easy way of putting it. Rahul, I want to shift gears a little bit because I know you're also a coach to digital marketing agency owners, and I've been following you do some amazing things with your clients. So tell me a little bit about how did you get on the coaching side from, because obviously your agency is doing great, you're working with these amazing clients and all of that cool stuff. What got you into coaching agency owners? Because us agency owners, we're crazy people, man. We're like, what made you think that you'd be good at that?
Well, I mean, would I think I'd be good at it? I didn't really look at it in that sense. It was just other people told me I was. And that's kind of where I was like, oh, I didn't really think of it that way, because I have my own staff and I was teaching my own staff how to be successful, not just like to do the tasks I want them to do, but just in life in
Mm,
general. Like if you're going to do
mm,
something, whether you like it or not, just do it to your full capabilities and give yourself a shot at something. Like it's not like one
mm,
foot in, one foot out. When you commit, commit. When you're
mm,
decommitted, decommit fully and go somewhere else. That was like the number one rule, was like be committed. Number two is I was already coaching my clients, because like think about like if you have a dentist as a client, or a hair salon, or a karate studio, or a gym owner, they suck at fucking sales. They suck at it. They have no system, they have
mm,
no process. So essentially what you become is a therapist, but then you become their business coach at the same time, because now you're saying, "I'll solve the lead generation problem for you." But then they have a systems
mm,
problem, then they have a sales problem, then they have a pricing problem. So like solving all these problems, but we weren't charging so much for it, or anything for it as a value add at that point in time. But then we realized we're coaches, like we're teaching people how to run their own business. And then I started teaching like 18-year-olds and 20-year-olds how to coach 40, 50-year-old adults how to run their own business, just following what I was already saying. The training was listen to
mm,
me, take notes, follow, right, create your own agenda of how you would take this call if I were not here ever again, and how this company won't die
mm,
without me. And then people started replicating the process within the company. And then I started to have turnover. People were leaving me. And then when they left me, they would ask me for advice. And then I'll advise them how to technically compete against me. But I never looked at it as competition, because I was just like, if we go head to head, I'm going to win anyways. So I didn't look at it as
yeah.
competition. So I was just teaching them how to be successful, make their own money, pay for their own stuff, and be good at what they wanted. And then I go to this entrepreneur center local to me, and the founder of the center basically just asked me, he's like, "Will you come here more often? I'll give you office space and a membership if you allow people to ask you questions when they have them." And I said, "Yes, deal. I won't be here very often, but when I'm here, if I'm
Mm,
free, they can ask me anything and you can direct me to them." And a couple of people came to me, and I mean, somebody gave me the idea to charge for it. He's like, "Can I just pay you for your time?" And I'm like, "Sure, what do you want to pay?" And then he gave me an amount and I said, "Let's do it." And then I just started. Then, right when he paid me, I literally posted on Facebook. I'm like, "I need 9 more people that I want to coach in a small little beta group," gave them the most amount of gold possible. And I started at the hardest part of starting a coaching business: people who had never started an agency that wanted to. So I had to start at the
mm.
very hardest point of anything possible, where they didn't know what they wanted to do. They were like just finishing college. Some were still in college. So I had like the hardest like process in front of me. So I was like, this is really good, because anybody who has experience, this is going to be so much easier for them. Um, so I
Mm.
intentionally started at the bottom there. But then, yeah, we took 10 people on right away within the first like 15 or 30 days, right around that range. And then one dude hit 6 figures per month within 3 months, and then started a second agency, scaled that a little bit, not as successful. And I was like, damn, that was fucking fast. And then we just started the brand, the GSD, and we started coaching people on simple to complex problems that yield high profits and a lot of free time.
That's awesome, man. So basically, you help out agencies who are just starting out or who have very little revenue right now, and you kind of guide them through making more sales, attracting more clients. What's the process like? Like, for example, if I was an agency owner and wanted to come join your program, how would that work, and what would I get out of
Yeah,
it?
first step is go through our group. The link is on my profile here on the picture here. So joingsd.com/group. Go there, watch some videos first, get indoctrinated, learn some lessons, because we put free lessons out twice a week, every single week, that are about getting clients. They're solving big problems for
Mm,
yourself with revenue, solving big problems for your clients by getting results. So we do all that stuff for free. And then with the type of avatar, we have 3 levels: brand new, intermediate, and advanced. So we have like an avatar document of like, based on where you are, the problems you want to solve, we integrate a solution for each and every person at that stage and personalize the journey for each individual. So it doesn't feel like this like circle jerk of a lot of people and nobody gets the attention. Everything's highly personalized, and you're matched up with like what we call wolf packs. Our logo has a
mm,
little wolf on it. And we make sure that everybody kind of like, we're the rising tide that helps lift all the boats. So it doesn't matter what stage or status you're at, because I mean, some people are making 8 figures in a year. Some people are just getting
mm,
started. But we have different
mm.
levels so everybody can solve their problem. More advanced people, they have like 1 or 2 major problems that are preventing them from scale. And then somebody at the beginning, it's a different problem. It's like a niche, an audience, an offer, a price, a product. And then we get those things in line, and then we get them selling it, and then they get cash flow. Then we take them to the next evolution of the agency.
That's awesome, man. That sounds like an amazing program. Join gsd.com/group. I've been part of your group for a long time, and the value add content that's out there, it's amazing, hands down. I've never seen anyone give out so much free stuff ever. So I highly recommend for you guys listening to check out Rahul's group and give that a shot. One last question before we end this, Rahul, is like people can come to you for the help on the sales side. I think you're really big on the sales side and marketing side. When somebody starts getting traction, one of the issues an agency owner or an agency has to deal with is churn or clients leaving. So what's like, if I come work with you as my coach, what's your strategy? How would you guide me to keep as many clients as possible while I continue to bring in new customers? How do I retain better?
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to communication. Relationships are so key in life, especially you got to treat it like a marriage. That's really how intense we do things. Is that, and we're not
Mm.
talking about like going to bed and making dinner. I'm talking about just be there for your client. Like simple
Yeah.
things. Like think about how long it could take for me to text you right now and saying, "Hey, how's your day?" Simple stuff like that. And number two could be like, hey, we have a call at 3 o'clock. We still good. Then that's just the
Hmm.
communication they're looking for, because everybody else drops the ball. They avoid tough situations. Number two is be fully transparent. Like, show them the ropes of what you're doing. Show them the bottlenecks. It's okay to not get the result that you're looking for in the short run, and explain to them that we're still testing, we're optimizing, we're getting there, we're showing momentum. This is part of the journey. I think people are so poor at setting the right expectation from the start that
Hmm.
they think, like, this isn't 10 years ago where you turn Facebook ads on and then all of a sudden flood leads and people buy. This is a whole different market. It's competitive. There's a lot of people fighting for the same level of business. There's a lot of people over promising and under delivering. But if we flip that model, under promise and over deliver, you're always in the driver's seat. That's really what it is. It comes down to the simple communication. Do what you say you're going to
Hmm.
do, communicate it articulately. If you're ever behind schedule, tell them well in advance. Don't try to squeeze it in when you know you're going to be late, because nothing is worse than having a deadline and not meeting it and then telling the client after the deadline passed. And that's where I see a
Yeah.
lot of people getting fired, is just poor communication. And also, what really bad part is when a client gives you additional work outside of the work that you're supposed to do,
Hmm.
and you do it for free, and you just made a new scope of work for them because now they think this is included. That scope creep came in. You think they're doing you a favor or you're doing them a favor, and they're thinking the opposite. Well, these guys are supposed to do it anyways. No, stop doing free
Hmm.
work. Like, we have a whole strategy behind that about $0 invoices, and making additional recommendations is the greatest way to keep a client longer. So if I just brought you on as a client right now, the first thing I would say is, hey, would it be cool with you if, while we go through this journey and we get more intimate with your business, if I can make some recommendations that can maybe bring in some more revenue?
Hmm.
What would you say
For
to that
sure.
question? Yeah,
I
you'd say
love
for
that.
sure. Yeah, and guess what I'm doing? I'm opening the door to be their consultant, their advisory board, and make those recommendations. So now I'm eliminating number one, scope creep right here, because now if they ask me, I'll be like, oh,
Hmm.
great idea. Let me recommend this. And then, or I can come back and
Hmm.
say, hey, we got the campaign launched. Is it cool if I recommend something that I think could be a good opportunity while we're just getting up and running?
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
now
I
I've
think
opened
that's
that
such a
door.
great idea. Because a lot of people, you know what you said, I 100% agree with you. You know, building a great relationship, making sure you're being honest and upfront with your clients, you know, those are simple things. Most of us don't even focus on those things, but what you just said after that, you know, we don't realize that the scope creep part, where, you know, we try to go, sometimes we overcompensate for maybe poor results that we're just generating by doing this free work for our clients. And now it's all bundled up, and you know, you have this $1,000 retainer and you're doing 2,000, $1,500 worth of work. You're not going to be able to sustain that. So, you know, it's clear expectations, same page, do not compromise on your expectations. And then as soon, if you have created these expectations that, can I recommend additional services to you which will help you grow your business, then as soon as they come back to you, even, or you get back to them, they'll be expecting that. And now you can charge for that extra. And you know, and then the best part about this, what you just said, Rahul, is that, you know, the actual work that you're supposed to be doing while you upsell your client and other cool things to generate more revenues, that doesn't suffer, because you're not just continually piling on more work into the same invoice, right? So that's a
Mhm.
great thing, because a lot of us miss that point, and that's the first time I'm hearing this. So amazing answer. Rahul, thanks for doing this, man. This has been an honor talking to you, and this is going to be great for a lot of people listening out there. And I look forward to talking to you real soon.
Yep. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Rahul. We can go offline, guys. Rahul, if you can just give me a second